Welcome to Philadelphia Distilling. My name is Robert Castle. I'm the co-founder and master distiller. Today we're going to walk you around our distillery. We are the first micro distillery in Pennsylvania since Prohibition, and see how we make Blue Coat Gin, Penn 1681 vodka, Shine White Whiskey, and Vieux Absinthe. So the first step in our process is the mashing or the brewing process. This is where we're going to combine the water and the grain, cook it. During this cooking process, the starches that are naturally present in the grains will convert to simple sugars that will later then be used by the yeast for fermentation. So once we have our mash all cooked up here in the vessel, we're going to cool it down through the heat exchanger, off to fermentation. Our cooled mash has now come over from the brewing process, pumped and cooled into our fermentation vessel. In our fermentation vessel, we'll now add the yeast into this mash. This mash now is going to be fermented by the yeast. These simple sugars that are produced during that brewing process are now going to be eaten, produce flavor and alcohol. After the alcohol is done through the fermentation process, we're now ready for distillation. So we're up here on the still platform, where now our fermented mash that we have from our fermentation process is pumped up through our pipework down into the pot still. Once it's down here into the still, we seal it up, gradually start to apply heat to the bottom of the still, and this will actually start distillation. Our still is really unique in the fact that it's all hand-hammered copper from a company in Scotland called Forsyth. Lends a lot of the unique characteristics to our spirits. So, as we're applying steam, turns the mash, portions of the mash, the alcohol, into a vapor. This alcohol vapor travels up the still into this portion of the boil ball, into the swan neck, to the lie arm, to the condenser, brings it back down to a liquid form, where we measure our rate of flow through the rotometer, then over here into our spirit safe, where we're safely measuring the temperature and proof in line during the course of the distillation. Now, via gravity, the spirit flows through the pipework down into our tanks. The number of times we distill each product affects and is part of the flavor profile we're looking to get in the final spirit that's inside your bottle. Okay, so our spirit has now been distilled, blended down to bottling proof, and we're now ready to fill the bottles. Slide the bottles over to here to our filler. Fill them up. Once they're done being filled, we bring them over to put a cork on. Cork bottle gets passed over to the labeler. Micro will apply the label, then off to put a heat seal on. So now that our bottle is labeled, we're going to put on the heat seal so it's all sealed up on its way to you. Slip it down over, make sure it's the right size. Put it down in the conveyor and let it shrink away. Our sealed bottle has now come down the bottling line, is ready to pack into our case. We pack it into the case, add in our shelf talker, seal it up, put it through the machine. Each case gets sealed with an individual serial number and date, and then shipped off on a pallet to you. Thanks for stopping by Philadelphia Distilling for a tour of our small craft Pennsylvania distillery. You continue to follow us after the tour on our social media through Facebook and Twitter for Blue Coat Gin, Penn 1681 Vodka, Vieux Absinthe, Shine White Whiskey. Of course, after you follow us, we'd always like you to stop by your neighborhood Pennsylvania wine and spirit stores. And once you pick up a bottle, please enjoy responsibly.